What's up, everyone? Just figured I'm gonna do a little bit of fun stuff here and um, NFL player props, and we'll see where we go from there. In advance of Thursday night football, of course. And just run some models and see what it looks like in R. And of course, jamming out. Always jamming out. Alright, let's run through all of this as quickly as we can. See, I don't know. Like, some of these yards are believable. I just don't know if I believe Lamar's only going to run for 9 yards. So I might need to adjust the old quarterback run model here. Well, I ain't complaining right now. Let me get this. So there's our rushing props. Let's look at passing and receiving props. All right, we got our guys in here. Some guys are projected negative, which I don't think is the case. No, it seems like I'll get rid of T. Which I assume most of those yards going to go to Tyler Boyd anyways. And we're as well. So let's filter that out. So filter. Name does not equal T. Higgins. We can get rid of that. I don't know if Lamar's going to throw for 263. This is what the model says. In terms of model training, so this is trained on the 20. I want to say the first year is 2012, and the last year is 2021, and that was tested on 2022, and it accurately predicted 59.7% of receiving/passing lines, and then only 48% on rushing lines. So I may need to adjust rushing lines accordingly, especially for quarterbacks. I don't think Burrow's going to run for just 1 yard. I also don't think Lamar Jackson's going to run for 9 yards. He might get 9 yards in one play. So there's a few ways to look at it. But that's kind of like the idea I'm looking at right now. Just joining all this data together, getting the type of models that we want, loading in said models, then predicting. Maybe. Maybe instead of, I guess one of the parameters of the models, what their carry share was in the previous week. Which I don't want to use the entire season because running backs fluctuate quite a bit, right? Now there could be ways of going about it. So chat, like if you have ideas, don't hesitate to tell. But the reason why I don't think I want to use season carries is because the Ravens are a good example. Like it was mostly Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, save J.K. Dobbins week 1. But recently Keaton Mitchell's been getting work in the run game. And so if I use season carries, like it'll favor Justice Hill and Gus Edwards because they've gotten rushing. But then it will severely undermine a guy like Keaton Mitchell. Maybe use like carry share in games played. So figure out the amount of games that player played. And then get the carry share with that team. That could be an idea there. So that's one way of looking at it. I don't think carry share is the best way of going about it. So we get a matchup roster, but basically, like, okay, I'll walk you through the model. So I pull the rosters or the depth charts of each team for the given week. then each position has its own model, each skill position. So QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end, they have their own separate model. For quarterbacks, it's passing and running. Running backs, it's rushing and receiving. So let's figure it out, And then it basically pulls the depth chart, make sure they're at the end of the depth chart. Pulls their ID, and then runs a prediction model based upon the stats that they have so far. And then we run through all of these, and then same thing here. We get a predicted touchdown model. So let's run that. Well. So like with this touchdown model, Ja'Marr Chase is at the top of the list to have according to my model, he's a 58.86% chance of scoring. Joe Mixon's at 54%. Keaton Mitchell's at 34%. Can get rid of T. Higgins. So now we see some guys that are and then prob TD is greater than or equal to 0. So like Ja'Marr, high on touchdown probability. Joe Mixon, Keaton Mitchell looks like he's the most likely one to score. Tyler Boyd, 32.5%. Mark Andrews, 31%. Irwin's at 27%. Zay, 22%. Gus, 21%. Irv Smith, 10%. OBJ, also 10%. Nelson Aguilar, 8%. Isaiah Likely, 8%. Mitchell Wilcox, 7%. Iosovas, 6.5. Drew Sample, 3. Rashad Bateman, 1. Justice Hill. Though I think, isn't Rashad Bateman out for the year? Let me double check, but I mean, yeah, Mitchell seems way too high, but a lot of it too is influenced with what he's done in recent weeks. Since he didn't really play at all, but let me double check. Because he might not even be. No, he's fine to play. Man, remember when both Bateman and Duvernay were, either one of them were considered the guy at for the Ravens, as in WR1. Now it's pretty much Zay Flowers. But yeah, I would say maybe Keaton Mitchell is a little too high, but Gus Edwards is a little too low compared to, relative expectations, because same thing for Gus Edwards, like if you look in the stats here, like he scored in each of the last 4 games. High touchdown probability, like I think the Bengals defense has given up quite a few touchdowns. I mean, we go box score by box score. starting with Cleveland. Start the season. Okay, so Deshaun Watson ran it in. First time they played Baltimore, obviously, Gus Edwards ran it in. So that's 1 touchdown, specifically to Gus Edwards. The Rams, they didn't have Tennessee. Derrick Henry had a touchdown. That's it. He also had a passing touchdown. But yeah, like, so right now through 4 games going through, game by game, there's, Emari DeMarcado had 1, so there's 3 rushing touchdowns in 5 games. Seattle, I believe Kenneth got in. Yep. So 4 touchdowns in 6 games. CMC obviously got in here. But was it rushing or receiving? Was it rushing? So 5 touchdowns in 7 games. Josh Allen ran it in. Another running back. So 5 touchdowns in 8 games. And then Houston Singletary ran 1 in. So it's looking like what, 6 touchdowns in 9 games? So with that being said, a lot of those touchdowns, we're with 9 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns in 9 games from running backs. Yeah, so like that alone, there's basically just from sheer defense implied odds, it's a 67% chance someone in the end zone is going to get in the end zone. Like if you add up Keaton Mitchell, so 34.1 plus 21.4 plus 0.11. I mean, that gets you pretty close to 67%. So I don't know. Maybe this model just likes Keaton Mitchell more than Gus Edwards. But then, because I'm sure goal line carries. Now, this doesn't have Lamar's probability of rushing a touchdown. He's very likely to run 1 in. I haven't built a model for QB rushing touchdowns. So, it's interesting to look at it. So, let's do... yeah, I guess I should probably load in GT, huh? Library, GT. Rushing props, GT. Let me get some code from one of my other YouTube videos, which is the college football data that I shared with you a couple weeks ago. Font site MLB reports. Maybe I have it in here. Maybe I don't. I mean, one way to do it is through here. Okay, so it's GT image rows. The column is, what's the column? I guess it's headshot URL. So we got, yeah, I don't know if Burrow's going to run for a yard and a half. I don't think Lamar's going to run. I feel like Keaton should be projected closer to 30 on this end. And I think what really affects him is my models not account for 1 point. So rush success, rushing EPA, carry share. Yeah, I don't know. There's their beautiful faces. Those guys in the 50s, that seems like it makes sense. Boyd at 47, that seems like it makes sense. Jamar at 86, that seems like it makes sense. Running backs, like, we're not going to have 3 running backs with 10 yards each. I don't think. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not gonna be on here much longer, but feel free to ask questions while we're in the chat. So thank you, Daniel, for asking questions. Yes, I have a GitHub. It's posted on every single video that I make. But yeah, this is kind of a interesting way to see how rushing props are created and things along those lines. So thanks so much for watching. This was, a relatively short video anyways. So hopefully you learned a thing or two, but yeah, so it's basically just a model that takes inputs depending on what it is. So like running backs, usually it's like carry share. It's like for the touchdown models, like target share, carry share, pass success, rush success, EPA per look, things like that. So EPA is like estimated points added, things like that. So really cool. So, just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of background and to kind of like some of the stuff I've been working on. So, hey, like look at this. It's pretty cool, right? So, thanks so much for watching. Enjoy some Thursday night football. Have a great rest of your night.